The major sculptural techniques before the 20th century were modeling, carving, and casting. By the early 20th century, assemblage became another popular sculpting method. With assemblage, an artist uses found or pre-made objects to create a sculptural work. Because of this, there is usually less fabrication involved than with the more traditional sculpting techniques. The resulting assembled sculptures are referred to as constructions. This sculpture from 1943 by Pablo Picasso is an early fine art construction. Its components are very simple. Picasso said that he was walking past a junkyard when he came across the handlebars and seat of an old bicycle. He took them back to his studio and mounted them on the wall to resemble the head of a bull. The Spanish artist Julio Gonzalez got his start as a studio assistant for Pablo Picasso. This means that Picasso employed him to help fabricate his artwork. In his own studio practice, Gonzalez did a lot to popularize metal assemblage. Although the practice of arc welding had been used for manufacturing purposes since the Industrial Revolution, it was not widely used in the fine arts until the 20th century. Like screen printing, welding was not considered refined enough to be a fine art practice. Today, thanks to artists like Julio Gonzalez, metal assemblage is considered a viable sculptural practice. Some constructions gather meaning through the simple juxtaposition of objects. The way that known objects are presented can change our understanding of those things. This other bicycle-related work is from 1913 by the French Dada artist Marcel Duchamp. Bicycle Wheel is from Duchamp's series of ready-mades, the same series as his upside-down urinal entitled Fountain. Combining the wheel with the stool makes a new kind of object that can no longer serve the original purpose of either. Robert Rauschenberg was an American artist from the 1960s who took interest in the found art aesthetic of Duchamp and the Dada art from the early 20th century. Instead of ready-mades, Rauschenberg called his constructions combines. This particularly well-known combine, entitled Monogram, fits a goat with a car tire, splattered with paint, and presented on the ground of an abstract painted collage. This piece is imbued with a similar absurdity and cryptic meaning as Duchamp's bicycle wheel. The assembled works of the contemporary Chinese artist Saigo Chang have a much more literal reading than those of Rauschenberg or Duchamp. This piece, entitled Inopportune, was installed suspended from the ceiling of the Guggenheim Museum in New York City. The piece is composed of 9 identical white cars, each fashioned with protruding, blinking lights. This piece tells a narrative that reminds us of the stopped frames from animation. It seems to reference the stylized action from movies, as well as the looming danger of car bombs. The Brazilian artist Vic Muniz also makes work in the vein of sculptural assemblage. This series, entitled Pictures of Junk, recreates images from the history of Western painting with, well, junk. Muniz owns a large warehouse studio that he fills with things he finds in the junkyard. This includes everything from oil drums to tires to refrigerators. The artist then stands on the rafters with a laser pen, instructing his assistants where to place the various objects. Every line, dot, or shape is created by these pieces of trash. The light areas of the image are the actual floor of his warehouse. When the images are complete, he photographs them from above and dismantles the construction.